Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Vulnerability Hangover podcast. I am your host, Nikki, and there is Enzo on our amazing Enzo cam. Enzo, can you say hello? There he is. This is going to be a new thing that we do. I'm going to try and have a camera on Enzo whenever I do my solo episodes because I know you guys miss him very much. Today's affirmation is my value is endless. And the drink of the day is a Diet Pepsi. I haven't opened it yet. I don't drink soda very often, but when I do, Diet Pepsi is one of my favorites. So let's give it a little sip. So good. Now let's jump into this episode. So today's topic is plastic surgery. I just want to say I am not an expert by any means. I'm not in the medical field whatsoever. As you know, I never went to college, but I have had four breast augmentations and other body modifications. So there are a couple of things I feel pretty educated about and I feel comfortable talking about and explaining to you guys. But of course, if you have any medical questions or questions about plastic surgery in general, please speak to a professional. I am not one of them. I am just giving you my experiences and the information that has been told or given to me by other medical providers in the plastic surgery field. Yes, I mentioned that I've had four breast augmentations. Did I want to have four breast augmentations? No, but I'm going to tell you about my entire experiences with it. My first breast augmentation dates back to December of 2018. I was 20 years old. I wanted to have a breast augmentation pretty much since I was in elementary school. And I know that's kind of odd, but I've never had breasts. I've always had a bigger butt, so I wanted something that kind of added to that. I've mentioned this in a couple episodes before. I was bullied for being flat chested, so I do feel like that is part of the reason why I wanted to get a breast augmentation. But I did wait a couple of years after I turned 18 before I made the decision on going to a plastic surgeon. Before I got a breast augmentation, I did do body modifications beforehand. I got lip filler when I was 19. To be honest, the lip filler was not that great. I used Juvederm in my lip, I believe, the first time, and then the Juvederm XL, which is supposed to make your lips more plump. But my body digests that filler a little bit too quickly, and I wasn't going to someone who was very good at lip injections in general. So they were pretty bumpy. But luckily, I found a new injector and I've been seeing her ever since. My first breast augmentation, I did a little bit of research on plastic surgeons, but I ended up going with a plastic surgeon who was pretty close to where I lived. He was extremely conservative when it came to implants. He recommended that I get low profile and he said that I could possibly go up to 350 cc's, but he wasn't quite sure. And he said that these are a more natural look for you. And that was kind of what I was wanting to go for. I was wanting to be a little bit more conservative going into breast augmentation, but I knew that in the future, if I wanted to go bigger, that I could always go and get different implants. So he was like, let's start off with low profile. And then after you have kids, we can always look into getting you bigger implants. So I got to go and pick out what type of implant that I wanted. And I went with, of course, low profile silicone implant. And I believe we went from 275 to 350. That was the range that they gave me for a breast augmentation. There was no visuals on what it would actually look like. All they did for me was put me in a sports bra, put the implants in, and were like, "Do you like them?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I scheduled my surgery for the in the next couple of weeks. The surgery is around $7,000, but I decided to put half of it on care credit because it helped me build up my credit and because I wanted to keep some of my money in savings, of course, and I ended up paying it off over time. Part of the payment was obviously anesthesia and to the surgeon. So you have to pay it separately, but in total, I believe it was around like 7 grand. Went in for surgery, everything was great. The pain was super minimal, my first augmentation, but when I came out of surgery, I was notified that I had to have even smaller implants, which was kind of interesting because they told me I had a lot of tissue and my breast would have been perfect for a size 355 cc's, but I ended up coming out with 225 cc's. And from what I know now, a lot of times they use these implants for women who have had breast lifts. They are practically not even an implant at all. It gave me breasts because I was very tiny at that time, but not enough where I was satisfied. I knew coming out of that surgery that eventually I would wanna go bigger, but I didn't know if I wanted to go bigger after I had kids because your breasts stretch out, and after 10 years, you need to have your implants replaced anyways. Obviously, I wasn't very satisfied, and I continued to do research about other plastic surgeons in the area, but a lot of the people that I had contacted about my implants were like, "We don't do revisions," which is what a second breast augmentation is. You need to go to someone who specializes in that. So I was referred to a couple different people, but eventually I ended up going to a different doctor, but that was years down the road. Let me just circle back to my first experience with that surgery. Overall, I would say the pain for it was very, very minimal. Like I said, the implants were not very big, so the stretching it wasn't even that painful. The first couple of months, you don't really have sensation in your nipples. Some people don't even get the sensation back in their nipples, but luckily, within a couple of months, my nerves stretched and then went back into place, and I did end up having sensation after that. My scarring was super minimal. They gave me this little cream that they sold at their office, so I would put that on my scars, I believe, after 3 or 4 weeks. My first surgeon did not have me wear a surgical bra or any wrap, which was kind of interesting. He said that I was totally fine to not wear one of those, but from what I know now, I probably should have been wearing a bra, and I did wear a bra pretty much every night because I kinda knew I should probably be wearing one of these so they fluff into place, but I just wore a regular sports bra. Within the first couple of days, I was able to raise my arms over my head and take a shower. Actually, the first night he recommended I take a shower and have the water hit my chest because it was warm and would wake the muscles up. I don't really understand what that was all about, but I was able to raise my arms over my head and do the exercises pretty much within the first couple of days. So I would say overall, my first experience with getting implants was great. Like, I had no complications. The only downside to getting implants is the first month or so, you're not supposed to exercise. And at that time, I was exercising pretty much every day. That was the only downside to my first surgery. In that time period, I did end up going to a new injector. Shout out to Lani at SkinWise RX. She's amazing. She's been doing all my filler, all my Botox pretty much since I was 19, and I found her through a mutual friend. So everything that I've gotten done with my face is Botox. I get it in my forehead. I love a frozen forehead and a little bit of lift in my eyebrows. I have had Botox also in my masters. I have TMJ, so that helps me a lot with clenching and grinding, and also it slims your face because your muscles are not working as hard. One side, I believe, has 50 units, and then the other side, I believe, has around 40. I think it just depends on your body or how much you need because what the Botox is doing is making the muscle freeze, so it's not overworking itself. I also get Botox in my 11s, which are right in between your eyebrows. I've had Botox in my chin before, but I didn't really care for it because it didn't do very much for me. I also have had Botox in my lip, which is called a lip flip. I wasn't very satisfied with the lip flip just because, one, you can't drink out of a straw and it looked silly to me. I prefer getting filler instead. The filler that I ended up getting when I went to this new injector, which is the injector that I've been seeing ever since, is I believe a similar filler to what you get in your cheeks, and it lasts a lot longer. I have also gotten filler in my cheeks and filler in my chin, but not enough to be too crazy or super noticeable. It's completely different than what a lot of people think. Also, I wanted to be a little bit more conservative when it came to the filler that I had in my face because I wanted to look very natural. And that's exactly what my injector did. But I will admit, I was pretty obsessed with getting lip injections, which is always a thing that a lot of people talk about. I loved getting lip filler. I loved going in for my appointments to get Botox, all that stuff, and I still do, but I don't get as much filler as I used to. And over time, the filler builds up and you don't have to go as often, and the tissue in your lip stretches out. I have been told that filler does stay in your face forever unless you get it dissolved. And I have gotten my lip filler dissolved a couple of times. Before Lani started injecting me, we did dissolve the previous filler that I had in my face, whatever was left. Then a couple weeks later, I went into Lani and I got the filler that's like similar to the cheek filler in my lips. I started off with 1 syringe, then I went up to 2 syringes, and in total, I believe I had 3 syringes from 19 to about 23 or so. Of course, I would go in for touch-ups every once in a while, but it usually was just half a syringe, and then she would put the rest either in my cheeks or in my chin, just to even out my face a little bit. Moving along to my second augmentation, like I mentioned previously, I was very unsatisfied with the size of my breasts. I had gone back to the surgeon and he said within a year or so, I could always go bigger, but he recommended that I go up only a couple sizes more, which was the 350 that we originally thought I was going to be able to fit in. And also around that time, I realized that there were so many other options when it came to implants. I felt like I was kind of pressured into getting low profile because I did emphasize I wanted a more natural look. So I can't really fault him for that, but also I should have done more research when it came to implant sizing and even plastic surgeons because I pretty much just went with the first person that was referred to me because I just wanted to get them done. Now I know I need to do research and go to multiple consultations and doctors, but that's another story. So I decided that I was going to go to another plastic surgeon that was referred to me by a friend. I ended up getting saline implants put in, and they were way too big. I went from 225 cc's low profile to high profile 650 cc's. Imagine how big those are. That was huge for my body. They seriously look like anime boobs. It was crazy. You can look back on my Instagram and see how big they were. Now, I was a little bit thicker, but they were still way too big for my body. Those implants unfortunately did not work out. I did end up getting sepsis and had to get them removed. And that was in 2022. And I, at that time, had had implants from 2018 to 2022. So I've never seen my body within that time without breasts. And I've gotten used to seeing myself with breasts, obviously. So that was very hard for me because I went all the way back to being an A cup. And my breasts looked completely different from before, obviously, because the tissue had stretched out and there was scarring and everything like that. I did have to have drains put in, which was very difficult as well to deal with. It was extremely painful and it was an emergency surgery, so I didn't get to choose the surgeon that I had. And that surgeon left me, unfortunately, with 2 scars on my right breast, which was the one that was infected. So I was not happy with that whatsoever because it gave me a lot of scar tissue in my right breast. So I did have to do cupping, but I knew that when I went to go get them fixed again, because I still wanted to have breast implants at that time, that they would probably have to cut out the scar tissue because it was just not going away. So I ended up getting a third one. Those didn't work out as well. So I decided that I wanted to contact someone who specialized specifically in revision. Reconstruction and revision is completely different. Reconstruction is usually when women have a mastectomy, they go in and put the implants back in or they fix the breasts entirely. It doesn't necessarily mean that they put implants in. It could be they take fat from one area to put it back into the breast area. It just really depends. Whereas a revision is where women who have not had breast cancer go in and get their implants put back in. So with this surgery, I went to Dr. Gabriel out in Vancouver, Washington. Shout out to him and his team. He is absolutely amazing, and he does specialize in breast revision and reconstruction. I knew that going with him was exactly what I needed. He walked me through every step of the way of what they're gonna have to do during the surgery, what the surgery is going to be like for me, and overall touched all the questions and concerns that I had. Because obviously, I was going into my 4th breast augmentation, which is the results that I have right now, and I was very, very scared. I did not wanna have another situation where I lose my breasts entirely. The only reason why I decided to go in for my 4th one was because my boobs did not look the same. My muscles were pushed all the way up to my collarbone on both sides, and they were completely uneven. It was extremely hard to work out, it was painful to work out, and there was tons and tons of scar tissue. So I was like, the best thing that I can do is just get these fixed. And there were other options for me. I could have taken fat from other places, but it would have been a lot more complicated. So I decided that I wanted to get high profile 450 cc's max. They also had to put a mesh bra in to hold the implants in place. The implants that I have right now are two different sizes. I can't remember exactly what size is what, but I know that my right implants are slightly bigger than my left implants, which makes them even. It's a work of art, I'm telling you guys. Dr. Gabriel was amazing with this breast augmentation. They look symmetrical, and my boobs have never looked better. And I have cleavage. I'm not wearing a bra right now. That's how good Dr. Gabriel is. So, they ended up going in and having to put the implants over my muscle. Normally, with breast augmentations, they go under the muscle rather than over the muscle, but still, they look natural. They're squishy like a boob, they feel like a boob, and like I said, I have cleavage, so I'm very, very happy with them. The scarring also, you can't even tell that I've had surgeries in the past. I have to also thank my genetics for that, because not everyone can say that they don't scar as bad. Also, my implants go over the scarring, so the only way that you could see my scars is if you lift my breasts. I've also been taking really good care of my scars too. With my final surgery, I did have to have drains in both sides. That surgery blew me away. I thought I was gonna be in excruciating pain because they did have to staple down my muscles. I was in very minimal pain. I did take a couple of pain medications to help with the first couple of days, but after that, I didn't have to take anything. No muscle relaxers, no pain medication, none of that. It was a great experience. I will say the other breast augmentations were extremely painful. You can imagine going from 200 to 600 plus cc's. That's a huge jump, and they were just way too big for my body, so it was super, super painful, and those implants never made me feel like they were actually my boobs. It literally felt like there was foreign objects in me, which obviously there are, but they just never felt natural. Whereas now, my implants feel like they're a part of my body. Now I'm going to go into what women should know before getting breast implants. Number 1, research your surgeon. I did not do enough research my first time around. I did not do enough research my second time around. A more conservative surgeon is better than someone that is not, and it will benefit you significantly in the end. It's like buying a house, you guys. Go shop around for the perfect surgeon. I would say this is as life-changing as buying a house. I mean, it is a part of your body that some people can see, so please make sure that you do your research when it comes to plastic surgeons. The second thing I will say is know your body. Because they are foreign objects that are going into your body, your body can reject them. If you have autoimmune issues, I do not recommend getting plastic surgery. There is such thing as breast implant illness. Do your research about that before you get a breast augmentation, because that is something that can happen to you. Another piece of information I will give you is before you go and get a dental cleaning or a dental filling or anything like that, please inform your dentist that you recently had surgery and that you need to be put on antibiotics. Also, talk to your surgeon about that. If it's okay for you to go in and get these types of cleanings and stuff like that, it is needed, of course, but just make sure these can infect your implants. And with infection, you have to have the implants taken out. Because if you don't, scar tissue will encapsulate over your breast, and they call that capsular contraction. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And it basically is all the scar tissue will close in on the implant, and it will be hard, it will be painful, it will make your breast disfigured. So, if you do get an infection, you will need to get them removed. There's no saving them at all. Once they're infected, it's a done deal because your body's gonna constantly try and attack that implant, which will create the scar tissue. There are alternatives to breast implants for those who may have autoimmune issues or anything like that, and there are surgeons that do fat transfers. It's kind of like a BBL for your breasts. They take the fat from one area of your body and put it in your breasts. And I've seen plastic surgeons from Beverly Hills do it, and it looks amazing. I wish I had that amount of fat on my body to move over there, but I do not want to move the fat from my butt up to my boobs. It was just a better option for me to get implants. Maybe in the future down the road when I have children, instead of having implants, I might just end up getting them taken out and having fat put in, but I'm not having kids anytime soon, so I'm not really gonna worry about that. The next thing, know what type of implants are going into your body. I recommend the gummy bear silicone implants. The reason being is because saline implants are full of saline. Think of them as a water balloon. If you were in a situation where there was some impact to your chest area, there is a possibility that they will pop. It's safe-ish for your body because with saline implants, the saline can be absorbed in your body, and the implants don't necessarily have to be removed immediately, but they can be extremely uncomfortable if they stay in there for too long. Trust me, I've experienced it. Whereas if you get the gummy bear or any type of silicone implant, if there is some impact to your chest, they are less likely to crack. If they do for whatever reason, they do not leak into your body. They will just crack, and luckily the silicone will stay in place and it will not make you look disfigured. The saline implants will make you look disfigured. There will be a noticeable difference with your chest because the saline pops and absorbs in your body. There's no promise that you will have a good experience with your implants. Going back to breast implant illness, that is a very common thing that can happen to women, and it doesn't always necessarily happen right away. A lot of women have come out and talked about it. So please do your research. Like I mentioned, having autoimmune issues, breast implants might not be the right option for you. I am a huge advocate for plastic surgery, obviously, because I have had it, but I don't always think it is the best option. If I was to go back in time and tell myself anything, I would tell myself to research more surgeons for my second breast augmentation. I obviously didn't do enough research and I ended up having to have 4 breast augmentations before I was even 26 years old. I think that everyone should be doing a significant amount of research, and you should wait at least 2 years before making a final decision on whether or not you want to do a surgery because it can be life altering. Not everything works out. It's an invasive surgery. I think that if you really want to have a surgery and you've waited enough time and done enough research on it, go for it. I don't feel like anyone should feel ashamed about getting plastic surgery. It's super common, especially nowadays. And if it makes you feel good, fuck it. Do it. Now we're getting into the part where I am going to answer some of your burning questions that you guys asked. And I just want to say thank you so much for asking these amazing questions. I think it's definitely going to help my listeners with plastic surgery. And I'm really excited to answer these. So I'm going to jump into those. First question is, do you regret getting any work done? And is there anything you want to do now? The only regret that I have when it comes to my breast augmentations is not doing enough research and being a little bit more conservative with my size. I love the implant size that I have right now. I know now that it's always best to go big, but not too big. Going back to what I said about choosing your surgeon, I think it's best to have a surgeon tell you, I'm not gonna go that big with you because it can give you complications. There are a couple surgeries that I would like to do in the future. I am taking my time with them because I don't wanna just jump right in and do it, and I need to do more research when it comes to it. I would love to get some lipo done. I have always had thicker arms. It's genetic for me. No matter how much I work out, my arms are never toned, so I've always wanted to get lipo with that, but it's not a super common surgery, so I don't know if I will ever end up getting that done. When I'm older, and have children, I might eventually wanna get a mommy makeover, but I am not at the point in my life where I wanna get any other stuff done. So I'm gonna probably continue to get filler and Botox, I don't go frequently to get filler anymore, but every couple of months I do get Botox because I like the upkeep of it, and I think there's a lot of benefits to Botox, like having a smooth forehead, not clenching my jaw, having glowing skin. I love Botox and I highly, highly recommend it. Again, shout out to Lani at Skinwise. Go to her. She is amazing and has multiple options for Botox as well. Next question is, do men get plastic surgeries? Yes, a lot of men get plastic surgery, and I think it's becoming more and more common. The most common plastic surgery that I see with men is jaw implants. I'm not going to mention who I think has a jaw implant, but I'm sure you can assume who it is. That is a very common one. Filler's super common. Botox is super common if you count Botox and filler as plastic surgery. But I think a lot more men are becoming more open-minded when it comes to plastic surgery, and I'm here for it. If it makes you feel more confident, do it. Next question. With the advancement in technology, are there new ways that are better or are they more risky? I think the technology that we have today when it comes to plastic surgery is some of the best, especially if you're going to an amazing surgeon. I think as technology advances when it comes to plastic surgery, it is less risky. My implants that I have now are the gummy bear ones, and they have been redefined into perfection. Implants are not like they were 20 years ago. They are able to be in your body longer. The average lifespan for the implants back in the 70s were 10 years, and there are some ancient boobs out there, which is fine, but it puts you at more risk for breast implant illness. When they put the implants in your body, saline implants don't always make the biggest scar because usually they fill the implant while it's inside of your body, whereas with silicone, they do have to have a little bit of a bigger scar area to shove the implant inside of you. They don't fill it up inside of you like saline. There are different ways to get implants into your body to make the scars very minimal. With saline implants, you can get them put in your body with very tiny entry under your breasts. I have seen people go through the belly button as well, so the scar is inside the belly button and into the armpits. But when it comes to silicone implants, they usually do it underneath the breast. So you do have a little bit of a bigger scar, but keep up with the scar guard, keep up with all the maintenance for the aftercare, and you will have very minimal scars. Also, genetics do play a huge role in scarring. Next question. Is there any piece of advice you would give someone looking to get implants? My biggest piece of advice, again, is research your surgeon. I will say this until my face turns blue. Research the surgeon. I would say go to someone who has been referred to you, but go to multiple doctors and see which one you feel best. Trust your intuition when it comes to this kind of stuff. And also research the type of implants that you want or the type of surgery that you want and you feel is best for your body. Plastic surgery is expensive. Do not cheap out when it comes to your body because you may have to get it redone, which is never fun, or you may have complications where you can't even get them redone and then you are botched. You never want to end up on the show botched. Next question. Are the surgical methods used based on personal preference or what works best for your body type? Both. If you are going to a good plastic surgeon, they will tell you what implants are best for your body. For me, for instance, my plastic surgeon told me we could go up to 450 cc's, but there is no guarantee that those will fit your body. And we don't want a situation where they look too fake or they're going out the sides and I can't create a good cleavage for you. When they did go in for my final surgery, they did notice that I wasn't able to get 450 cc's and my breasts were not even, so they did have to have a different implant in each breast to make them perfect. They're like twins now. They're not sisters, which is exactly what I wanted. Also, I did have to have a mesh bra put in, which helps keeps the implants in place and makes it so there's no situation where they go outside of where they're supposed to be sitting. Also, most breast augmentations are under the muscle. Mine were not because of the state of my chest muscles. Always talk to your doctor on what they feel is best for your body, and a good surgeon will tell you exactly what you need to hear. The next question is pretty similar to the question that I answered above, but it says, how many different types of surgical methods are there to get the implant inside of your body? I'll just reiterate when it comes to saline implants, there's multiple ways that they could put it in your body. Belly button is one, armpit is one, under the breasts is another one. With silicone implants, they usually put it under your breast area. There are situations where they do cut off the nipple. It's called the lollipop method, and they put the implants in that way. But that's usually for women who are getting breast lifts. When they do take off the nipple, there's no guarantee that you will be able to breastfeed after that. So that's another thing that you need to keep in mind before getting plastic surgery. Do you want kids down the road? You might not be able to nurse them after that. And there are situations where you completely lose sensation in your breast. Unfortunately, for me, I do not have sensation in either of my breasts. They have woken up a little bit, my nerves, I mean, but at this moment, I do not have any sensation in my breast, and also there's no guarantee that I will be able to breastfeed in the future if I do decide to have children. Next question. Do your lips feel bumpy? I'm assuming this question pertains to having lip injections. No, they don't feel lumpy at all. And that also is because I do have an amazing injector. There are different methods for ways that they can inject filler into your lips. Cannula is one method, or a lot of times they will just put the filler in wherever they see fit. If your lips are bumpy, you're gonna have to get them dissolved, unfortunately. It is not a good sign if your lips are bumpy. They either need to be massaged out or dissolved. I always recommend getting them dissolved and going to a different injector, or maybe lip injections are just not right for you. I have never been told that my lips feel bumpy. There are also ways that your lips can become bumpy. Kissing right after you get injections, giving blowjobs can make your lips super bumpy. So just be careful and follow the aftercare instructions religiously. I highly recommend you never want a situation where it messes up your face or moves the filler around. So that's all the questions that I had from you guys. Thank you so much again for sending them to me. I hope this information helps whoever may feel like they want to get any plastic surgery, filler, or any of that kind of stuff done. I do want to also give a huge shout out to Dr. Gabriel up in Vancouver, Washington, and his amazing team. I'm telling you guys, walking into that office is literally spa time for me. I love going and visiting them. I highly recommend them for any type of plastic surgery that they do. They take amazing care of their clients. I cannot recommend them enough. I also want to give a huge shout out to Lani at Skinwise RX. She is amazing. She is so freaking smart when it comes to all this stuff, and she will be honest with you just as much as Dr. Gabriel when it comes to modifying your body, and that's exactly what you need when you are going into any type of body modification. So shout out to them. I love them and I will be going to them for the rest of my life, but hopefully this is my last breast augmentation for the rest of my life. I'm done after this. I never want to go through that again. I hope this helped someone out there and answered all of your questions. I do get this a lot. A lot of people are like, Nikki, did you get another breast augmentation? Yes, I did. Do I regret it? No, because I went to an amazing surgeon. So, this episode is coming to a close. I hope this helped someone out there, and I hope I answered all of your burning questions when it comes to plastic surgery. I may do a future update if I end up having any other type of plastic surgery, but I want to be an open book for anyone. So, if I didn't answer any of your questions, feel free to shoot me a message. I am an open book, and I would love to help you all. I never want someone to feel like they have to live with being botched in any sort of way. It's not a good feeling. Trust me, I have been through it, and I never want you guys to have to go through those shitty experiences like I did. So please message me if you have any other further questions or just want to chat about plastic surgery. I am here for you. I'm also going to reiterate, I am not a plastic surgeon, but I do know quite a bit. Thank you guys so much for giving this episode a listen, and I hope you enjoyed the little Enzo cam that we had. I'm going to try and do this for all of my solo episodes. Before I sign off, please make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe, or send this episode to someone you feel needs it. I love you guys so much. I will catch you guys in my next episode. Okay, love you. Bye.